Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Hey guys, this is Brad with Lucky 7 Racing and the Cars Coffee Nut Automotive event that happens in San Diego, California. I'm at home today and I'm working on a new project. As this year I've decided to do a little bit of BMX racing in between everything else that I have going on in my life. And I've decided to open this up in front of you guys, which is the new Chase Edge 2022 Pro Cruiser that I've recently received. I ordered this about 2 months ago and they finally got it out to me. And I'm going to put it together today and open it up for you guys and let you guys see what's inside. Now, I have not opened this yet. As you can see, the strapping is still on it. So I'm going to be seeing this for the first time, just as you guys are. But if you notice that the box is upside down, the reason why I have it like this is because this is how it was delivered to me. So if anybody from Chase happens to be watching this at some point in time, this is how I received it, and I'm going to open it up the same way. So hopefully nothing is bad inside with the chain stays, or with the stem, or the handlebars, or any of the other components. Now, as I understand it, Chase does a really good job of getting most of this stuff put together for you. So the fork's already installed, the crank is already in, the wheels might actually be already on it as well, but I'll still have to put air on them. But I want to go through and at least take a look at some things, put the final assembly of parts together that need to be assembled. It's going to require some simple wrenches, some sockets, probably some Allen wrenches as well, which most people have in their garage. If they don't, it's pretty easy to get a hold of some if need be. So I've got that out all ready to go. I've got my trusty stand here that I use when I'm working on my mountain bike, and I maintain that. So we're going to put the frame up on this. You don't necessarily need one of these to put one together, but it is good to have one. I found this on Amazon for around 65 bucks, and it's definitely been well worth the investment because I can put my bike up in the air and put it stable. That way it's not just leaning against something, and I can get things put together and maintained and worked on whenever I have to do something. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I am inside my own personal place today, and hopefully it's not echoing too much in this. But let's get into this a little bit and check out what we've got. So first we're going to get these straps off. Usually it's good to have a decent knife. I always keep one with me for this sort of thing. So let's see if we can get this open. Relatively simple. I've got my sockets, my screwdriver out of the way. Next you want to do is take care of these staples. You got to kind of watch it with these things because they are somewhat sharp and you can easily dig into your hand with one. I've got a flat bladed screwdriver that I can use to kind of pry them off. Might take a minute or two here for me to get these off. So bear with me here while I do this. One. You guys want, you can fast forward through this a little bit to the part where I'm actually past this. There's actually 5 or 6 of these in the bottom. Come on. Alright, there we go. If you guys notice, I'm actually barefoot because I'm inside my own place, but if you do this on your own, probably good to have some sandals on or something in case you step on something. So, everything opens up just like this. It looks like everything's right in here the way that it needs to be. Now, thankfully, the rear tire is actually already on it, and everything is packed in here pretty nicely. So, what we've got here, I've got a spare parts box. Make sure that everything is labeled specifically for your pack, for your box, or for your bike. Let's see if I can get this to pull out of here. This is pretty damn cool. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. And thankfully, Chase has packaged this really well to be protected in shipping. So looks like the forks have got some foam around it along with the stem and the chain stays, and the rear assembly back here, of course, is well protected on top of that. So let's get the box out of the way, get this up on the stand. Let's take a look at what we got here for some things. Thankfully this is pretty lightweight, so I can hold this with one hand and adjust this. What's nice about this is I can just rotate this around. This out of the way, open that up. Alright, so since there's some zip ties on here, it looks like I'm probably going to need to cut these off. And I don't immediately have any cutters. I still have my knife on me. Do I have any cutters nearby? I don't have any cutters nearby. I am going to jump out of the frame real quick, and I'm going to go grab some scissors that I have in another room. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to leave that right there, probably off camera for a minute. I'll be right back and grab some scissors. Better yet, found some needle nose that have a good cutting tool on the end of it, so I can get some of these zip ties off of here. stem. It looks like the stem is all in good condition and nothing happened to it in transit, which is good. I'm glad that nothing happened because I was really worried when it showed up at my house at my place the other day, because it was upside down, that something may have happened to the stem, but it looks like that's not the case. So, see if I can get this front wheel off of here without making a giant mess with it. How do they have this on here? It looks like the wheel is inserted, or part of the cranks are inserted into the wheel. When you get this off, you got to kind of finagle it a little bit here. So there we go. Now it's off. Of course, it does that on the front wheel. We'll put that off to the side for a minute. Thankfully, I didn't grab my ankle when I did that. Get this out of the way. Get the foam padding out of the way that's on this handlebar assembly. And let's get this into place on the stand. Thankfully, the stand is relatively easy to work with. Got a quick clamp on it, so I can just get the frame as centered as humanly possible. And then the padded clamp here, which is of course fully adjustable for how hard you want it to come down onto the frame. And you need to open it up a little bit, it looks like. Okay, I'm gonna mix that noise. There you go. Alright. You can see my goofy self here. Alright. Now, get this all rotated into place. Tighten this up so it doesn't move. Put that in place so it doesn't move, and we're good to go. Now we can work on the rest of the bike. Now, it looks like Chase has got everything well padded and well protected, which is really great. Good. Take that off. Get the rest of the padding off here. Now with this new frame in particular with the edge, Chase has gone ahead and integrated in a disc brake for this year. Last year they were more of the mechanical V-grip brakes, which were on the rim, and now they've moved to the disc. The disc is the same setup that they have on their higher end models as well, so it's nice that they've integrated that into this particular frame. This is a really beautiful bike. This is the white and with red and black graphics integrated into the frame. So let's get the rest of this off. These off as well. Looks like the forks look really, really nice. Flip these around because that's how that goes. Here are the handlebars here, and those are going to go right into here, which I'm going to have to loosen up the stem a little bit so that I can get these in place. And go ahead and try and balance these in one spot so they don't make too much of a mess. Hopefully they don't go flying. Okay. Now, looks like I might be missing a seat, but I got a feeling the seat is in the box here, so let me do digging for that. Yep, here's the main seat, so we'll have to put that on here in just a bit. Let me get the rest of this padding off of here for you guys. That way you can see how this frame really looks. I'm glad Chase includes this on their frames when they ship them, so it keeps them from getting marred up and having anything happen to it in shipping. This is just really a good looking frame all around right here. I'm really looking forward to getting this out on the track and have some fun, let you guys see the adventures of me doing this year. Off here. And let's get this off here. I know it's a lot of foam, but you know what? I'm glad that it's on here, because if it wasn't, God only knows how this would look. Handlebars look to be in real nice condition here. Let's get this off. Let's get this off. Looks like most of this is just taking the foam padding off of everything. Not much to it. It actually makes it pretty easy for anyone out there that, you know, may have never put one together before. Thankfully, Chase has made it so that a lot of the hard stuff is already done. So that is going to go and sit right about there. So we're going to have to get that installed and work on that a little bit. So let me grab some Allen drivers here that I've got off camera. Hopefully I can get that to bounce and not fall over. Stay in one spot. No, it's not going to stay there. Will this stay here? It's going to have to stay right there. Now then, Allen drivers I have right back here. And this is going to take a, let's see if a 6 will do it. Yep, looks like it's a number 6 Allen driver. So this should just be a matter of loosening these bolts, which are a little on the tight side. And not too bad. Okay, get these to come right off. They've got a little bit of Loctite on them, which is nice because that'll help keep the bolt from rattling and vibrating out of place, because you do get some vibrations and a little bit when you're doing anything when it comes to any sort of extreme sport, really. I mean, I do that with the karting and the automotive racing. I mean, we put Loctite on certain items because we know that the vibrations that go through the vehicle and through the chassis can end up into certain parts that you don't want to get loose. So let's get this off. Comes off real easy, just 4 bolts. We'll get the handlebars in here. Get this back together. And usually it's good to put everything back on here hand tight and then go back through it later on with a wrench and put it together properly. That way you don't have to worry about over tightening anything. Really something you have to kind of be careful with anything when it comes to this sort of stuff. Put this on here like this. And for now, I'm going to leave it about there. That's what I want to do. Kind of want to move in a little bit of a star pattern or a cross pattern with these when you put them on. So you're not potentially tightening one down more than another. That way you get a nice even spread of the force of the kind of the assembly here down onto the forks and onto the handlebar system. Even though it's kind of loose, be just a minute here and I'll get all this tightened up. And then I'll have to go back through it, of course, and tighten everything up accordingly. Because you're always going to want to go through anything that's brand new like this and just double check everything and make sure it's all tight from the factory. Because sometimes in transit things can get a little bit loose, or maybe they were in a rush to get the bike together at the factory and they didn't fully tighten certain things down. So eventually I will have to go through this and take a look at everything and make sure things are on here properly. Get this to go on here. Everyone wants to just take forever. Obviously, I'm going to have to adjust this for my height later on for the way I ride and for the angle that I want it at. But for now, I just want to get this on, get that into a relatively decent spot so it looks like it at least belongs where it's supposed to go. Okay, so that's all on there quite nicely. Next thing we can do is get the seat on in place. So here's the seat, nice and lightweight unit. Usually in BMX racing, you're not sitting down very often. You're actually upright on the pedals, but they do include a pretty nice lightweight seat. This one comes directly from, I believe it's a pivotal seat. Not much weight to this. It's a plastic seat with an aluminum mount here. So nice little unit, very simple. It just slides right down into place, and then it's got a kind of screw clamp application here which you can adjust, and of course get it right down. Of course, I'm going to adjust the height of this later on once I get things figured out here. But it's starting to look a little bit more like a bike, which is really great. I'm glad that it's all looking the way it should. Let's get the rest of this off of here. Get that off. Of course, I'm going to have to clean that up a little bit later on. So now things are starting to look a little bit more like it should. We did have a box of parts where we're going to open up, which should be our pedals. Let's take a look what we got here. Put my blade somewhere. Here we go. Alright. There you go, nice set of flat pedals, along with any sort of reflectors. Of course, if you're riding this thing on the street, you're going to put reflectors on it, but I will not be. I'll actually get the track. It also has instructions in it, and of course a user's guide, the safety guide as well, so you may want to go through that if this is your first time riding. Put pedal assembly onto it here. black aluminum pedal. It's got side reflectors on it, which of course you will have to take these off if you do any kind of racing, because I believe as part of the rules is that they don't want any reflectors or anything that can potentially fall off the bike while in competition. So that'll eventually be something I'm going to have to pop off. But for now, these just thread right into the cranks, which is a nice, let's see here. Well, it may take a moment for me to get these to thread on properly. There we go. Now they're threading on. Nope. No? Thought I felt it. You can kind of do it a little bit by hand, and then eventually you'll put a wrench on it and get it to thread into place. These are slowly getting there. If I can get them to cooperate here. No, it doesn't want to cooperate. Let me see if I can get this one in place. There we go. Now it's on there. Okay, got that the thread in place, and thankfully that withheld the failure of falling off the bike what was on the frame, but thankfully these are a nice strong unit. They're kind of like a flat pedal. They've got little pegs on them to give you some grip on your feet or on in your shoes while you're riding. So we'll get this other one thread in place. Go in place real nice here. Takes a minute to kind of feel your way to find the threads, but once you do, they just thread right in. There we go. Alright, so that's starting to feel and look a little bit more like a Pro Cruiser here. Alright, that's going to require a wrench later on to get that on in place. Now let's put the front wheel on it, which should be relatively simple. It's got some protective here, or some protectors here on the ends to keep it from getting torn up while on transit. You'll have to pop those off, of course. Put those in here, and it looks like these are going to require another Allen wrench of some sort. It should be the number 6, the same as what was on our stem, and it's not. It's actually a little bit bigger than that. So let's take a look and see what size this actually is. So this is going to require probably the number 8. Yep, looks like it's going to be the 8. So we will take this out, which 8 should stand for 8 millimeters, 6 should stand for 6 millimeter when it comes to these. So that'll tell you right there what you need. Should just be a matter of loosening the Allen head bolts on either side here, sliding this into the fork, and then we can assemble our front wheel. And these will just go right into place here. Now there is a washer which you want to have on the outside of the fork on both of these. Alright, goes right on. You can hand tighten it, and then of course later on we're going to use our 8 millimeter Allen headed wrench here, and we're just going to tighten everything up nice and easy. Alright, so now that that's all set in place, that's it. 2022 Chase Pro Cruiser. I'm really looking forward to getting this thing out on the track. I'm going to go through all the nuts and bolts on this, make sure everything is on here the way that it needs to be. I'm going to have some final tightening to go through. It's always good to go through and make sure you check your brakes before you go out and ride, so I'm going to go through all that. I'm going to make sure that there's enough air on the tires and then make some adjustments to it and go out and give it a ride and test it. So hopefully the next time you guys see me on this thing, it'll be out at my local BMX track, giving this thing a few laps, and hopefully being able to keep up with the local talent that's out there. We'll have to see, because there's a lot to be said about that, and my own riding ability and my lack of riding over the last, I don't know, say 15 years of me not really doing this sort of riding. I've been more on mountain bikes. So I'm looking forward to showing you guys this a little bit more this year. For now, this is Brad, Lucky 7 Racing, and the Cars Coffee Donut Automotive event that happens in San Diego, California, and I hope to see you guys at the racetrack.